Hello, welcome to Lawless TV, the place to be if you want to get inspired to find your special personal power, make a difference, and make money with it. And she is best-selling author of Love Letters to a Stripper and a trauma and illness-informed coach. Welcome to the show, Angelina Lombardo.
Thanks for having me, Andrew. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to have you. So you and I, we've met a few months ago when we both wrote our book. So tell me, what is Love Letters to a Stripper? It's a very unique title. So what is it all about?
Yes. So Love Letters to a Stripper is the start of a conversation between myself and sex workers. I coach both women and sex workers, whether that's survival sex work, victims of sex trafficking, women in the dance stripping industry, porn industry, sex workers in total, to live more aligned, powerful, and wealthy lives. And this book that I wrote was a tap on the shoulder for women who may feel like they're not in charge, they're not making the money, they're not feeling healthy in their bodies, and they know that there have been traumatic situations that they've been involved in that are in their past, and they're unaware in a certain sense that that's one of the key factors in what's keeping them disconnected. Yeah. And so this was the start of a conversation, both with the three fundamentals of life in mind: body, mind, and soul. And It's just my way of tapping them on the shoulder and inviting them to a conversation.
So how did you get to write the book? Usually when people write a book and feel that mission to help, there's typically a personal story involved, right? So do you want to share yours?
Yes. So there's many personal stories that led me to want to make a difference. This book came at a time when my mother had recently died, and I watched her suffer through that. We didn't have a really great relationship. So it, of course, moved me a great deal to make a difference with my story. And my story is a bit, it's very trauma filled. And I've done a great deal of work to enjoy this health, wealth, and I am happy in my life now. Right. So the Me Too movement happened.
You were a stripper yourself, right?
I was, yes. I'm a former stripper, sex worker of 8 years. And my story is how I got into that was actually survival sex work. And I was homeless and living on the streets. I had been many times homeless since the age of 14. And having all of that accumulate into I was 21 when I started working in the sex industry. And it felt liberated, and I certainly felt empowered. And it gave me freedoms I didn't have before in my life, but it was also coming at a cost that I was unaware of at the time. Mm-hmm. And so it took a while for me to notice the cost. And
at the time you didn't feel that. So did you get into the profession voluntarily? Was it by circumstance? Was it by force? So what happened?
It was by circumstance, and it was by a pimp who knew. They know how to, we've heard it. They know exactly how to groom. And I was already, I had already been in therapy for many years at this point. So in my mind, I thought, I'm okay. I'm fine. I've got this. It's cool. I can navigate. This pimp found me. I answered an ad. It was under he had made an ad for telegrams, singing and dancing telegrams. And I live on the island of Maui. And so I responded to that because I had been in acting and I could sing, and I also was a dancer. And as soon as he started to ask me about my body size, I knew something was up. And I said, wait a second. It was a laugh. And I was like, this is a little, what are you asking me this for? Why do you need to know this? And I thought it might be, he would say, it's for the costumes. But he said, well, what did you think this was? And then he said, this is for private dancing in people's homes. And I said, no way, no way. To make a long story short, he started in with, no, don't hang up yet. Don't hang up. You don't, and he was a very pleasant guy. He was charming, actually. He told me to bring my boyfriend. He told me to bring my boyfriend's best friend. He said, I want you to feel safe, and he just kept going. And in my mind, because I was homeless and he was telling me I could make $500 in 30 minutes, I had to seriously think about that. $500 in 30 minutes? Holy crap. Oh, okay, maybe I need to listen to him. I wanted to see the opportunity. I was bold. I was rebellious. So I decided to go. And it just from there it was 2 years that I stayed on the island and did that. And I was taken advantage of, and I was victimized, and it was me attempting to be in control on a consistent basis and not realizing it, not being able to actually be in control. Something else was in control.
So was there a time, so I often compare that to the monkey house, right? So when you go into the monkey house in the zoo, you're like, oh, the smells and the stench, I cannot take it. And when you're in there for a while, it smells normal, and you don't realize that it stings and smells until you leave. Right. Yeah. But in your case, though, it was more like, it seems like you were going into something that smelled wonderful and then began to smell badly, but you didn't realize, right? Mm-hmm. So how long? So you said you were in there for 2 years. When did you realize that, this actually smells, it stinks?
I think the first time I was taken advantage of, but it was, so something that needs to be said for me is that I was sexually abused from a young, very, very young, sexually and physically, emotionally. I was tortured. I've had a really hard childhood, and fast forward, it just kept playing out because of the developmental trauma that I had suffered and the complex PTSD. And so I was functioning in that reality, like you said, in the monkey house with the poop, but that was all I knew. I didn't know anything else. So it was hard for me when I was taken advantage of to move from that reality. So I just felt victimized. I just went into hiding. I just felt shame. I just felt like the world had it out for me. I just felt like it was my fault. And whatever it was that I was doing, I got myself there. That must mean it was my fault. And so that is what that looked like. And I knew it smelled, and it wasn't pleasant, and part of it was pleasant. So I just looked at it like, okay, well, this is the cost of having money and freedom. And I like that. So I liked that more. But meanwhile, I was being taken advantage of. I would be ripped off. I was getting robbed. I was it was not pleasant. But I decided, without actually saying, I decide to do this, I was making the decision every day to go with it based on how my brain developed.
So what did it take? What did it take in all of that? That alone is extremely traumatic. Yes, you probably balanced, the trauma with the rewards for a while. But what did it take for you to say, you know what, enough, I need to get out?
Yeah, so fast forward, I actually left the industry to have my daughter, and I had met her father, who is a professional athlete. and didn't have to work in the industry any longer. I switched and I started to run vacation rentals and have my daughter.
Is that so easy? And you just make that, because there's always this.
No.
Always, okay, tell me.
No. So what happened was I met this person, her father, in the club. And it's something that it was a rule that I would never date any of the clients. And it was interesting because we had a conversation, him and I, and then I didn't see him. And he sort of stalked me persistently. And he just really knew that he wanted to be with me. And it was a very codependent, enmeshed, very unconscious connection. And I was just looking for rescue. I wanted out of that. I wanted someone to pay for my way. I wanted to be, I wanted to have a family life, and I didn't want to have to do what I was doing. So when he said he didn't want me to do that anymore, and he wanted me to do this, and he gave me opportunities to do other things, I hesitated because of my gut. It didn't feel right, but I went with it. Because up to that point, things didn't feel right in my gut, but I went right over my gut. I was like, nope, I've got to do it. I've got to do it. So I was looking for rescue. He was my rescue. He was like the fairy tale knight in shining armor moment. And I was like, okay, I'm in. And so I stopped dancing and I started traveling with him on his circuit. And he wanted a baby soon after that. And with my gut, it was like, that's too soon, 4 months into our connection. And then I just decided, okay, fine, we'll try to have a child. And I mean, it was more involved, of course, but I'm just giving the nuts and bolts. And then I had my daughter.
So are you still together?
We are not together. No, that definitely ended in extreme toxicity and a custody battle, which is the catalyst to me getting out of the industry. I had her. We were together for 5 years. It was domestic violence was a very big issue, a lot of abuse, and it took me a while to gather myself and leave. Once I did, because he had all the resources and money, I had none. I was again victimized by the justice system. And so I lost custody of my daughter. It was very unfair. There have been, since he has recognized what he had done, and had tried to repair some of that after the fact. But for me, it was the most shocking transition. It was a wake up moment. That was my wake up moment. When I had her,
woke up because of your daughter.
Absolutely.
Would you have done it for yourself?
I was trying. I was absolutely doing everything I could to help myself. That is true.
And why did it not work? What held you back?
And nothing held me back. I didn't have the tools. I did not have the awareness. I basically did not have the inner resources. I needed outside resources. I needed support outside. It wasn't offered, wasn't available. I didn't know what I needed on the outside. So I just assumed the responsibility for getting better, for being in control of my life. And it just never worked. Having a child, having something on the outside of me, because it is such a reflective experience. Of course, I did not want any harm to come to my daughter. I did not want anything from my childhood to pass on. And I was cognitively aware that that was extremely possible. And maybe not just possible, but more than likely it would happen if I, as a parent now, as this guardian of this being, had the responsibility to actually do that. She was innocent. So the fact that she was reflective brought up lots of memories for me. it was a struggle to find the right resources and the right therapy and the right therapist, actually, and modalities to actually support me in raising her, simultaneously healing my inner wounds.
So the struggle for resources, at that time, were you still making money, I assume?
Yeah. So I had, let's just go back to the epiphany of what happened, how I got out of the sex industry. It was very interesting because, you know, we live so much in our pain, and then it takes like this minute where all of a sudden it's switched, and then this huge amount of pain is just dropped. So I was in Vegas and I was in the Spearmint Rhino, and that's where I had worked. And I had just realized, you know, I was struggling really hard. I had rules, like I didn't want to drink in the club. I wouldn't I wouldn't have relationships with the people in the club. I had all these rules that I would work, and I broke every single one of them. I would get drunk at work. I was drinking, and I'm not a drinker, but I was just in so much pain. I was having relationships with people. I was going out with people, just all the rules. I broke them all. And I was struggling, and I wasn't making any more money. So I started to see my money dwindle, and I had to look at myself. I sat on the couch. I looked at the club. I looked at what was going on, and I did this often. But this time I just looked around and I said, what are you here for? What was your reason? Why did you come here? To make money so that I could get a lawyer to get my daughter back. Are you doing that? No. You're better than this. You need to go. And I said, that's it. That was just it. It was a moment of me saying, I was here for this reason. This reason is I'm not doing it. It's actually hurting me more than it's helping me. It's not supporting me, and I'm not getting any closer, and I'm done. Mm-hmm. And I told everyone that night, I'm out of here. This is my last night. And everybody always laughs. You'll be back. And I did not turn around. I did not. I left with, I think, $500 maybe. I went back to Maui. I lived with a friend. I took my real estate exam. I started selling timeshare. I tried to do my best. That was a struggle as well, but I did anything and everything I could. It was all around my daughter.
And that's very unique. I understand it, right? Because what I hear when I talk to people from the sex industry or adult entertainment industry, it's like once you're there, there's that stigma that follows you everywhere, right?
Yeah, it does.
Where you can't find a job, you know, you can't find friends, you know, you start dating, and then your friends find out, they see you on a video or they hear whatever, and then you're back again. So how did you break that?
I am a very resilient person, and I decided that I had a moment where I thought, wait a second, this happened to me. I was a victim as a child, and that followed me through my adulthood. None of that was my actual fault. So working through that and realizing that, slowly owning that, slowly becoming the guardian of my experience, I started to realize that I was feeling shame, but it wasn't my shame. So I was supposed to struggle through this story that I was a victim to, that I repeated, that I tried everything in my willpower to change so that I could have money, a happy home, a healthy processing mind. And I was supposed to take the shame from everybody else's repressed, or, you know, you name it, the repressed society, the way that they believe and think we are as sex workers, the reasons why we do it, the damage they think we're on. I was supposed to take all of that on and hide. I was tired of hiding. And I just decided and started to find out that it wasn't my shame. This was not my shame. And actually that shame was making me sick, because the hiding made me sick as well. And if you live an unrealized life, you slowly die. You slowly suffer. And I was physically suffering.
And I mean, you have a very extreme story, but you know, there are so many women out there, and men, by the way,
yes,
that got sexually abused very early on. it happened to me when I was 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it took me, I think, like 40 years or so, right, to get over that and talk about it and being able to talk about it also without
Right.
crying, because you always think that you brought it upon yourself. And what I understood later is, you know, people these perpetrators, you
Mm-hmm.
know, they have a process in place. There's an induction process, right? So, and when you're young, you have not what you're going to do, right? So you're victim to it. So why should you, why blame yourself? I think more people should talk about that. So, and you will be. I'm always surprised how many people have been affected by it. And the success of the Me Too movement is not by accident. I think the entire male population was shocked when all those women came out. The men are not so; they haven't come out yet in those numbers, but I'm sure there are a few. Right? So you must. Your message must resonate with a lot of people. I think that's my point, right? So,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, I'm listening to your story, and I'm like, if you can make it out, my story is trivial, right? So not trivial, but it would be frivolous to tell you about my experience because you've been through so much more. So how do you use your experience and that strength and courage that you've had to go out, right? Get out, right? Start from scratch, go back to Mao, like become a real estate agent. I mean, there must have been other pressures that pull you back, right? So how are you using all that experience, that knowledge? And I know you've acquired, techniques and strategies and approaches and tools to help people, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do you help people? Who do you help? Right? So who do you like to help? And how do you do that?
So I'll start by saying that, I mean, I just want to back up. Trivial or not, I understand we have a different amount of trauma, you and I, right? But your trauma lives the same way my trauma does. It lives in the body, really, and it repeats itself unknowingly. So many times people don't know that experience, however they dealt with it. And typically, I mean, in this day and age, typically people hid with the story that happened if they were sexually traumatized, right? Um, and so that will actually look like a lot of things in your later life. You're a people pleaser, a perfectionist. It's the way that your body, your brain decides to hide that story in your experience of life that will bring you no money, sickness, um, unhappy feelings, everyone else is to blame for what's going on with you, not knowing what to do, that kind of thing. So I work with people that have, because it's trauma, because my coaching is trauma informed, they're looking to realize their power. They want to feel empowered. They want to have, actually, a lot of the people that come to me want to make money. It's really the thing. And they feel like something's in the way of that. And typically speaking, and their voice, they want to be heard. They want to have they want to help the world. I guess they're a younger version of me, really. A lot of my clients are artists and creatives and people who want to find their voice, is what I hear. I want to find my voice. If I find my voice, then I can find my people. And then if I can find my people, then I can make a career that makes a difference in the world. And so that's how that works. So, and what helped me, the one thing that I sort of hold on to, is my spiritual practice, my knowing who I actually am and having that not be informed by anyone else. So my inner authority and my sense of self is so strong. That is the thing that I kept coming back to, because I realized that that's what I needed to build. It didn't exist because I was told what I was, who I was, and it was always from the perpetrator's eyes. So I always thought everything was my fault, right? And I didn't know who I was. And I think similarly, a lot of my clients don't know who they are and who that inner authority is, what that really means, how that shows up in their life.
And how do you
Does
help?
that?
Yeah, to me that makes total sense, right?
Okay.
What do you do? So when people come to you, what happens?
So, a conversation. I mean, working with me, coaching, because I'm a trauma-informed coach, coaching begins with a conversation. And so I'm an extremely I'm an extremely good listener. And that's exactly what is called when someone is wanting to make a change, excuse me. So they're coming to me with some pain point. Like I really want to make, I am working with someone now. I'll use her as an example. She's a singer. She's in a band, and as singers, and she's a songwriter. As a singer and songwriter, of course they need to be in charge of who they are, because what they're doing is singing out experiences. Like their songwriting is informed by their experiences. And so she realized that she was shying away from some and coming, and it just wasn't a fit. It wasn't feeling aligned. And so she wants to know who she is in her voice. Well, she didn't realize how much her experiences in life were locked in her body. And so as I was listening and asking her questions about that, and she was starting to feel the conversation that was already happening inside of her body and how it was relating to her, she was very surprised. And so in my listening, as I create this safe container and that conversation is going, people are able to talk with themselves, and that's what we do.
That is so important, right? So I'm that kind of guy and coach also who always wants to say, here's the solution, here's the tool, right? Follow those 5 steps or fill out this form or whatever.
Yeah.
You complete that exercise and you're one step further, to success. But when you start out, the first challenge really is to get it out, to talk to somebody in a way that it's safe, to somebody who also understands, has the empathy and the compassion, because they went through it themselves, right?
Absolutely. That's absolutely key. And also, I think that starting this, so allowing a person to unfold in their organic way in front of you is extremely important, especially in this type of work. I was a birth worker before I was this coach. And as a birth worker, as a midwife, and as a doula, as anyone knows, there's a lot of presence that needs to be held at a birth. And it's different from a medicalized birth. And I'll just say this really quickly. A woman's power, a woman's body was made to have babies. We were made to make them and house them and then to birth them. And so that presence, every woman has it. We all birth a baby in different ways, in our unique ways. But there's a respect and a reverence that really needs to be in place in this container of safety and security, so that woman can have the experience as organically as possible within herself. It's the same with clients. It's the same with the story. I'm there, but I'm just a container at first. After they speak and they start to share what's happening inside, then we get to let's use this modality. Let's try this. But it's very much they're in charge. Not in charge, but they are, it needs to happen. I kept all of my stories and things bottled inside, and I just used my mind It was like I tried to fit into the constructs of society. Okay, I need to do it this way. It's got to look like that. And then I just showed up that way. This is me. This is who it is. But I was completely disconnected. I didn't believe any of the rules. I didn't understand half of them that I was like doing. And when I was finally able to feel safe enough to speak my truth, I was shocked at how much power I actually did have. I was shocked at how much control I actually did have, but I needed to speak it out and say it the way that I felt it.
And so you spoke it out and you used that control. So today you're a best-selling author. You're writing your second book, I hear.
Yes, I am. Yes.
You also had a change in place. With a partner, or you moved, right? So
yes, yes, he moved in with his family. I am now a bigger family, and
awesome.
It's amazing, phenomenal people. Honestly, my life now looks zero to what it has been in my past. That has everything to do with all the work that I've done, all the inner work that I've done on every level. That's spiritual, mind and body. It's not easy, but I was committed and determined. And now I am committed and determined just the same way to make a difference in people's lives, in the people that I advocate for in the sex industry, and in the women and actually the men that I work with now as clients. So, and
I couldn't think of anyone better that I know I came across that can help, because you have the authenticity. You certainly have the scars to show for them.
Yeah, big time.
And your story is such an amazing story, from where you came from, what happened to you as a child, your time as a sex worker, the struggle to get out, to where you are right now, and helping all these women. And I so commend you for using your special personal power, right, to make other people, to make it easier for other people, right? So how can anybody who wants to work with you, wants to know more about you, how can they get in touch with you?
I will say, I wanted to say one thing, because this is sort of important. I wanted to address what you had said, like the scars, and yes, I definitely have the scars. And I just want to make this point, because I think I was, statistically speaking, I probably shouldn't be where I'm at. Statistically speaking, with everything that has happened to me, and then me repeating the cycles. And I remember being in a place where I thought, it's for other women. It must be easier for other women. There's no way I can do anything like that, because I am just so far into victimization. Like, I've been too victimized. And so statistically speaking, I shouldn't be where I'm at, but that's exactly why I feel like I want people to know that if I can do it, anybody can do it, right? So the commitment to get there looks different for everyone else. But if I can do it, if I can have been born and had this life up till slowly realizing the life that I have now, anyone can. It's actually very true.
I could talk to you for like ever, right? Because you have such a rich story. Unfortunately, we're way over time already. Right?
Yep. So, let's end it. Let's end it. So let me give the email.
I feel bad about it, right? So this is one of those.
Not at all.
Where we feel bad. We feel really bad about it. But how can people get in touch with you?
They can simply email me at angelinalifecoach@gmail.com.
And we will, once we will put it into the comment box, wherever you watch it, there somewhere in the comment box. Yeah.
Yep. Just angelinalifecoach.com. It's simple. No big, funnel of any. It's just angelinalifecoach@gmail.com. Email me and just say hello. Tell me a little bit about what you heard in this video and why you wanted to.
You will get it personally, so it's not going to be an assistant or anything.
No, it's my personal email.
Right,
that's my personal email.
Yeah. Confidentiality and the safety build the safety right away.
That's a huge deal. Yeah, it's exactly. That's very important. Privacy.
Book
Yeah,
is available
confidence.
on Amazon, I assume.
My book is on Amazon. Yes, I actually want to give a free copy to anyone who likes this video if they'd like. So that's another reason why you should just email me. Email me. Let me know an address, and I will send you a free copy of my book. And you can also purchase it on Amazon.
So did you hear that, everybody? So like this video, right? And you're going to reach out to everybody. Send a free copy of the book.
Yes.
If you want to support Angelina, you can also do that on Amazon. But
yes,
do both, right? So you can read it and then decide you want to pay for it. But get the book. It's very generous of you. So thank you very much.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. I actually want as many people that are interested to have the free copy.
And you are such a strong and courageous woman. Like, of all the people that I've met in the last decade, you're one of the most amazing, most beautiful souls that I've ever had the honor to be.
Thank you.
No, yeah, I am. I'm German, right? I'm German born. I would tell you, right? You know that for me, right?
I do know that.
but I do think your story is one that needs to be heard. And so guys, get in touch with Angelina, get a free copy of the book, like this video, buy it on Amazon if you want to be anonymous, that's also fine. But Angelina, thank you very much. It was a distinct honor, and your story needs to be heard. So go get out and continue to make a difference.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrew. Thank you. It's my pleasure. I appreciate it.
Stay amazing as Angelina. Okay? Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.